you need to keep the vision in the company and out of your personal life probably, right? Because too many times when people actually start feeling some success, they pull that money out and want to reflect it maybe in their personal life.
And you cannot become complacent. And that's why that hangs on my board.
That guy makes more than $100,000 a year who runs that career, I guarantee you.
Did almost 300 grand subbing for $52 a square back in 2012.
In this video, I will share with you how to make $100,000 in the roofing industry. If you have never made $100,000 as an installer, as a salesperson, maybe as an owner, I will share with you how to get there in all three categories. This research took me a couple of months. On every interview I went to, I've been asking business owners this question: how much earning potential each category of people in our industry have? I wanted to back up my opinion, what I've observed in my market. I understand that every market is different, but I want to show you that it's not that hard to make $100,000. And if you have never approached six-figure income, I will show you how to get there. I will break down all the numbers, what you have to do to start making six figures for yourself.
So here's the other thing, and sometimes sales managers, business owners, sometimes they miss this, right? Like, I'll ask you, how many leads a day do you give your guys?
Usually 2-3 per day per guy.
Three is the max.
Yep, I agree.
You will burn your guys out at more than three.
I agree.
And if to do $5 million a year on 3 leads a day, you have got to be awesome.
Sure.
Right? Like, and I'm talking awesome. Your follow-up, the backseat of your truck cannot be a mess. Like, you got to have a box and have all your files, and you got to take them in at the end of the night and work on your proposals and do all the things that you do.
So let's start in sales. Sales are super easy. All you need is to sell about $1 million worth of projects. As simple as that. If you're a residential contractor or work for residential contractors, you're talking about 100 jobs at $10,000 average. At $10,000, it's pretty conservative number for average job. A lot of jobs, every job in Colorado or Texas or maybe Florida will be a little bit bigger. So if you live in an area where there are a lot of tile jobs or metal jobs, the average ticket will be more, but $10,000 is industry standard. Everywhere you go will be, numbers will be up and down. But if you sell 100 jobs averaging $10,000, you'll get $2 million, you will make $100,000 on average. Obviously, some people pay more, some companies pay less, some people do profit split shares. I'm not a fan of it, but $100,000 is $1 million, 100 jobs at $10,000, average 2 jobs per week, 4 estimates per week. Very reasonable, very doable. If you're in sales and you cannot break $1 million per year, ask yourself, what are you doing wrong? Is it a training? Is it lack of leads? Or maybe lack of your motivation? Because honestly, if your closing rate is 50% and you do at least 4 estimates per week on average, you should be selling at least 2 jobs per week. And it's very doable number. I would say in a business, it's one of the easiest way to make $100,000 a year. Obviously, sky is the limit. I know a lot of guys who've been doing sales 10, 15, 20 years who bring $500,000 every single year. But you can make $500,000. I mean, like I said, be awesome, follow up. And the more you do, the better you become.
Disciplined, you got to be dedicated to yourself, and you cannot become complacent. And that's why that hangs on my board. Because every day when I'm standing there working, I look up at that board several times. It's always right there. What is the biggest obstacle to success? Complacency. I'm going to put this file back here in the seat. Next thing you know, it's under the seat. You got water that's spilling on it or whatever the case, right?
Get it done right away.
And now it's gone. And now that opportunity is gone. And that opportunity is tangible money to the business owner. Leads cost money, period.
But those people are super disciplined. They know their process. They follow their process. They usually have really good system, really good closing rate. They have good referrals, and they're really good with people. So sales probably the easiest category to make $100,000 in the roofing industry. Can installer make 100,000 a year? Is it hard? Is it doable? Possible?
It's
for
totally doable.
for a good roofing installer.
Right. So out of our Tulsa location, there was a crew that had 3 guys, and they roofed each section of the house by themselves. They didn't have any help. They carried up their own shingles. They cleaned up their own messes. They did slope by slope. They were one crew, 3 guys, and they would pull 40 to 45 squares on 8 or 10, 12 every single day.
Wow.
They got up early. They showed up. They didn't do anything but work. They don't make any mess, because they're the ones that have to clean it up. They do everything efficiently. They don't do anything that they have to go do and rework. Those guys make really good money. That guy makes more than $100,000 a year who runs that crew, I guarantee you. Now, your typical crew that has 6 or 8 people and it's not super organized, not super efficient. Everybody's good, their quality is good, but their efficiency maybe isn't good. That guy should still be able to make 80 to 100,000.
Let's talk about labor. I know a lot of you will be arguing with me that $100,000 as installer is almost impossible to achieve. But guys, I have seen it many times, and we have a huge labor shortage right now. So if you're the business owner or maybe you're skilled installer, please pay attention. Maybe I'll give you some ideas what you can do to double your income the very next year. Here's my recommendation, and before I give you my recommendation, I want to break some numbers. To do $100,000 in labors, you have to do 100 jobs with a $1,000 per job earning potential or profit. You have to do 200 jobs making $500 per job. You have to do 400 jobs making $250 per job, and you usually have in our industry about 250 working days. So yes, we have 365 days in a year, but you're gonna have rainy days, you're gonna have holidays, weekends, stuff like that. So realistically, you have 200 to 250 working days. So average job is about 20 squares.
I mean, when you actually break down what a crew makes, people are shocked. Right?
Exactly.
Like they do
really good money.
They do pretty well. I mean, I think that like most people aren't making as much as they are, right? In America, I think they're in the upper percentage.
Especially
right?
if you take the window of time they make their money.
Sure.
Right, yeah. Like I'm talking like an hourly rate, right? Like they're not
The
maybe,
opportunity is
they might
definitely
not
there.
be in the 1%, but they're in the 5, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, their opportunity is definitely there.
So let's say you want to work with a team. You want to put a couple guys and you want to work on a crew for builders or for the contractors, take jobs from somewhere else. Average price in the United States is about $75 a square. Obviously, states like Alabama, Carolina is going to be on the lower end. I see price go as low as $40, $50, but prices been going up on average, but 75, pretty conservative number to have as an average in the country. So with that number, with the 20 square as an average job and $75 per square, you will be getting paid about $1,500 per job. If your labor costs about $800, let's say you have 4 guys and you pay them $200 a piece, it's $800 right there. Some crews have 4 guys. I know really good crews who work every day with 3 guys on the crew, but let's say you have 4 guys under you, you still work with them, so 5 guys, you pay for $800 a day. You take $200 for your cell phone expense, for your truck, for your gas, for your tools and stuff like that. You will be making at least $500 per job. If you do the math, you're going to be about right here. So if you do 1 job a day, for 200 days, you're going to be making at least $100,000 for yourself.
Sure. I've always told guys straight up, don't get paid by the hour, get paid by the job. That is how you get paid. So when guys call me when I was in my subbing years or when I first got started, and guys say, hey Kareem, I give you 20 bucks an hour. I've never understood that. When I first started getting paid by the square, the guy that taught me how to roof, we were on new construction, so we got paid by the square. Every 15-foot valley, we got paid a square. Every 15-foot wall, we got all the extras that you can think of, you got paid. So, I mean, you could go write your paycheck every day. If I wanted to make 500 bucks on this 60-square roof because there's only 3 roofers on here, I can go do that.
I think that this one right here is most lucrative opportunity right now for someone new in a business. So if you're really good with your hands, if you like hard work, I think this is what I would do myself if I would have to start with nothing. I think this is the best opportunity in labor to do small repair jobs. Here's what I would do. If I would be skilled trade roofer and I wouldn't have a company, I didn't have any other opportunity, labor would be only my way in to make money today, I would go in and I would find a roofing company, I would come to them and I would charge maybe $250 per job. So $250 per job, per repair job, it's actually very reasonable. Something that you can take you up to 4 hours, so you can do 2 repair jobs per day. I guarantee you, most companies will load you with the repair jobs because we have such a big demand for the repairs. Most big companies don't want to deal with it. Small companies don't have labor to do them. Labor crews, they don't want to deal with it as well. They want only big jobs, full replacement jobs. So both contractors and subcontractors have been focusing and still focus on the big jobs. Now you can focus on the repairs. So I know a lot of guys who are making $50, $70, $80 an hour on average being right here. I personally think that in labor category, it's easier to make $400, $250 jobs than bigger jobs. You have less competition, you actually have a lot of freedom. So what I would do, I would charge about $250 minimum. If you're a nice, clean guy, you have nice truck, you perform well, you're really good with the homeowners, any company, any solid company, reputable company would love the opportunity to hire you and give you, jobs. This category right here actually will put you right there within technicians like HVAC guys, electricians, plumbers, because you can actually charge per piece of work just for showing up and troubleshooting the roof, troubleshooting, the chimney, fixing, couple blown shingles. Those type of repairs that can be paid really well, and companies actually start charging more and more for minimum service calls. So for the business owner, we have no problem charging $500, $600, $700 for minimum service call. The problem is the labor. We don't have, crews or installers who are willing to do those. Again, demand is there, supply is not. So you can supply your labor, you can be individual employee or individual subcontractor, one-man show if you like, and you can at least make $100,000 for yourself.
I did almost 300 grand subbing for $52 a square back in 2012. $52 a square.
300K.
Yeah, 52 bucks a square. So just imagine if I was getting 75 bucks a square,
So there is money in subcontracting.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, it's a lot of money in it, especially if I tell guys, like, there's 2 different sub crews. You got the guy that drives around in his truck, act like he's a contractor and he just points to guys, and then you got the guy that actually is on that roof getting money. And those are the guys that get the bread. They make the money because you're doing 40 to 60% of that roof yourself. Either tear off, installation, doesn't matter. So you're cutting your expenses almost in half by being on that roof, being a badass on that roof. Sure. So if you're getting 75 and it's 30 square, you're looking at what, 2,400 bucks? Instead of paying out 1,500 on that job, you're only going to pay out maybe 800.
I would always say, like, every position and how you're compensated for that is, like, really dependent on how much value you're bringing. So, like, absolutely can any position make as much as another, in my opinion, because you just might need to figure out how to scale that position, So if you're an installer, you can scale the installation business and you could make as much as anybody else. If you're in sales and you scale that sales cycle, you could make as much as anybody else. You see, honestly, like, how many business owners actually make it past the first 2 years?
Now, as an owner of the business, our last category, to make $100,000, you have to be at least $2 million business owner. Here's how it breaks down. So a lot of guys think that you can make $100,000 doing $1 million a year, and it's true. But if you're the business owner and you don't have a sales guy, so technically you're getting paid for the sales position for your company because you don't have employees, you don't have sales guys, If you're $1 million shop, $1 million office, honestly, you don't need a sales guy. One guy should be able to sell 1 million. And obviously, you can do that. There's no problem. But if you want to do it right, you have to do at least $2 million. You will make profit for the business of $100,000 on this amount. And you can actually pay yourself as a business owner $100,000, and you will be able to actually profit from the business another $100,000. So your cap limit, you can actually take home about $200,000 on a $2 million business. But
when people start a business, a lot of the time they are having big visions, and that's good. That's not a bad thing, but you need to keep the vision in the company and out of your personal life probably, right? Because too many times when people actually start getting, to feeling some success, they pull that money out and want to reflect it maybe in their personal life, and they would really benefit from, delayed gratification, I guess. Don't buy the boat or the sports car or whatever else you're thinking about.
Sure.
Put yourself on a salary and stick to it. Then live within your means on that. You know what I mean? If you can bring enough value to your company, then you can give yourself a raise at some point, right?
I worked for Dustin previous to us opening Apple Roofing. I made more money working for Dustin than the first 4 years of my salary as an owner.
if you want to hire people out, let's say you don't want to do anything in the business, maybe do some marketing or whatever, you still have to be compensated for it. But you will have $100,000 as a profit just as a business owner without working in a business. But you have to bring at least $2 million. If you don't bring $2 million, you're getting paid for working in the business. Most likely it's going to be sales or labor position. But to get paid $100,000 as a business owner, you have to be at least at $2 million. And obviously sky is the limit. So you can start bringing $1 million a year for yourself once you start passing $5, $6, $7 million. But it starts with your first 100K. And to make first 100K as a business owner, not as a salesperson, you have to get at least to $2 million. And I think one of the coolest sizes of the business is anywhere from 2 to 4 million. Right there, 2, 3, 4. You can have 1 or 2 sales guys, a very small team. You can make most money in that size. Obviously, once you start scaling, your profitability goes down because overhead grows.
The business owner is last. So before you get the idea that I'm going to go out and start my own roofing business, you're last. Okay? The salespeople and the installers are the gas and the engine, right? Mm-hmm. And so those two things have to get fed first.
Leaders eat last. Unfortunately, in this
That's
industry,
fact.
they eat first, and then they file bankruptcy
Right.
and don't pay any
Right, and
bills.
then they start another company 6 weeks later. So, can a crew leader make that? Yes, I have one that does that. I think I have 2 that do that.
So when you do $15 million, it doesn't mean that you make more money than $10 million companies. Sometimes it's opposite. As a matter of fact, I've seen $7 million businesses make more money than $20 million businesses. So you have to understand dynamics to grow. But in this video, I just wanted to introduce you to your first 100,000. I know a lot of guys who are millionaires in owning roofing businesses. I know millionaires who are in sales. I know millionaires who are in labor. Those guys who make at least $1 million on the labor side, they usually run 10, 15 crews under them. They have the processes and they're very, very efficient. They have a really good relationship with a lot of builders. But you can fix the labor problem, you can make money. You can make money as a business owner, obviously, but this position right here is gonna come also with a lot of headaches and there are a lot of risk. For those of you who are thinking to become an owner, I don't want you to think that this is easy. I would say out of 3 positions here, $100,000 here as an owner is going to be your hardest money you will ever make in your life. This is earning potential in roofing industry as I see it. If you guys disagree with me, comment below where do you think I'm off. If you don't agree that you can make $100,000 in labor, or maybe you think it's easier to be an owner than a salesperson, comment below. I want to hear from you. I want to have conversation with you. Maybe engage with me and share your numbers. What's the first time you made your first $100,000? What did you do? Did you do 100,000 in sales or in labor or as an owner? So I want to hear from you. What's earning potential do you see in the roofing industry? Who can make the most money? Who is the most successful person do you know? How much money do they make? Do you know anyone who already made $1 million in our industry, or maybe in your network, maybe your boss, your partner? Share their story in comments below. I read all my comments. I want to hear from you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.